You're about to listen to Kelly Martin Speaks. I'm your host Kelly, and the author of When Everyone Shines But You, a mental health and self-acceptance blogger and a recovering darkness addict. I have experienced intense anxiety, deep depression and life trauma, but I'm coming out of the other side now. Darkness was a comfort zone for me for a long time, and it felt safer than the light. So in this podcast I share with you my journey into the light and how I move through challenge in an empowering way. I'll share with you tools and nurturing ways to embrace your humanity. I was once a shy, scared introvert, afraid to speak, but that's all changing. Let's take this journey together and learn to fly. Hi there, welcome back to Kelly Martin Speaks. I'm your host Kelly Martin and this is episode 112. Today feels a bit of a heavy podcast episode. I wasn't going to do one because I've been feeling quite low about the world that we live in. But then I thought as I speak, perhaps greater understanding will flow, which can often happen with me. Now, I've spoken about chaos and division in other podcasts and blog posts, but right now things are really heating up, aren't they? I think you would have to be living on a desert island to think otherwise or to miss out on what is happening. Although that being said, my mum has been oblivious to what is happening, mainly because she doesn't watch the news or read social media, and I think in many ways she's much happier as a result. Now, because I work primarily on social media, it's been hard to get away from what's happening. But fortunately, I have been able to spend each day creating art and using the right side of my brain more, my intuitive side. And I've been able to give myself brain breaks and emotional breaks. Now this week, if you follow astrology, the planet often known as the planet of war, Mars, has gone retrograde. And it will be retrograde until the middle of November, I believe. And in October, the planet Mercury goes retrograde. Now that's the planet of communication. And in November, the United States of America elects a new president. And by October, providing things work out, the UK government will be finalising what deal will be going for with regards to Brexit. Now, when Mars is retrograde, it can mean anger, challenges that have been coming to the surface will actually be more intense. If it can get any more intense. And when we have the combined Mars and Mercury retrograde, there is this added challenge of communication issues. So it's probably not the best time for all of this to happen. But as I've said previously, change comes from chaos. So perhaps it's perfect timing. Otherwise it wouldn't be happening at this time, would it? Now, apart from all the political divisions, riots, Black Lives Matter and protesters looting in the USA and in the UK a little bit, violence and hate between so many people right now, you'd think that the world was going to explode at any time, and I hope it doesn't. Personally, I've been finding it also hard as a woman to see the word woman being erased from products being sold for women, to international organisations like the motivational speaking programme TEDx, which recently said on Twitter that it was removing the word woman and replacing it with I can't even say it. I think it was WOMXN. And they did this in a very misguided way to appear inclusive of other genders. They call transgender, trans women, trans men. But the problem was there was a backlash of women against this change. And even trans women saying this is not good too. Because you can't really be inclusive by excluding. Now, I've been called something called a TERF. I've been called transphobic and a number of other names. Basically because I've been questioning the movement to remove women's safety and rights in favour of allowing trans women who are biologically men into women's spaces. And women are being gaslighted on a huge propaganda drive, even by other women. Often young women are being very gaslighted. Now, I know what it's like to grow up as a woman, to be socialised as a woman, to receive abuse and harassment as a woman, like many women. So while people may want to call us names for asking for proper, intelligent debate and asking that actually women get a say and whether laws are changed for us is not a lot to ask in my eyes. But it's happening all the same, and it's upsetting me, and it's upsetting a lot of women. Because women worldwide are still having to fight for our equal rights, and here we have a minority group of activists trying to change this. And often trans women want nothing to do with those wanting to remove our identity as women. And aside from that, I've been threatened with social media cancellation from trans activists also, and I guess I'm just growing a very weary about it all. But I will keep speaking because the divine feminine, the balanced feminine, is powerful and it helps trigger the balanced divine masculine. And this is what brings a great sense of togetherness as a human population. It's an inside job. But constant divisions taking place is really hard to embrace right now, for me and for many. We're human, you know, we're not sages sitting on top of a mountain looking down. We live as part of humanity. And especially as it's often what is called the superclass elite, who are behind the scenes creating all of these external divisions for a purpose. And as I said, they're external world problems. But I want to know how to make peace with these divisions. Because the divisions, as I said in this week's blog post, are often a war between masculine and feminine. Unbalanced masculine and feminine, might I add, and it's taking place inside all of us. So how can we cope with what's going on? How can we make peace with our own inner divisions taking place? And what do we do with the outer world? How can we look at riots and fighting and a raising of women, children being groomed via education, which is beginning in the UK, and name calling, and well, you get my drift. The list just goes on and on right now. How can we manage this all without falling apart, without getting depressed? The only way we can do it is by dipping into the news and dipping right out, not staying there. We must limit how much we see of this. We make changes at a local level when we can, and we speak up when necessary. We take time to play, to create, to do anything that does not involve being immersed in this. We exercise, we spend time outdoors in nature. Because the powers at the top need us to stay divided. They need us frightened. They need chaos. And I admit that the thought of some overloading group running the world, which makes a lot of sense looking at the state of the world right now, feels very uncomfortable and scary. But I know this feeling will pass, and I must, like many, find a way to live in this world right now. to keep focusing on what matters, to not fixate on that which is out of my control. This is the only real way to handle what is happening. This is the only way to find peace in a chaotic and disturbed or volatile world. Learn what you can about what's happening or don't. Be like my mother and just get the information you need to live your life on your terms, if you're able to. And breathe. Do anything that will help you breathe better, deeply and not shallow. Find ways to relax and distract from all of this in a healthy way. And trust that all of this, even the perceived bad stuff happening, could not possibly happen without it meaning to. There are higher powers that take care of us. I truly believe this, and anything that was going to be too dangerous for the world would be shifted in another direction, which has happened in the past. For example, when people have tried to set off bombs and start a war, and suddenly the database for the weapons malfunctions, as if by some unknown, unseen hands turning off the possibility of war. We are okay. We are being taken care of. Find a way to see that all of this is happening for a purpose. We may not see the entirety of this yet, but it is for a purpose. It could be for huge change. It could be to knock the elite off their pedestals and power. Who knows? We just need to ride this challenging carpet ride right now and breathe. So I'm sending love to everyone listening and everyone reading this transcript. Now, if you enjoy my free content on this podcast and blog, I really appreciate any donations, or you can buy me a coffee via Ko-fi, which is on my podcasting page on kellymartinspeaks.co.uk. And I'd also love it if you pop over to my art prints on my Etsy shop to inspire your home or just bring a few smiles to you each day. And if you have a question or a topic you're struggling with and would like me to answer on an upcoming podcast episode, please get in touch. Your name will be confidential. Email me at kellymartinspeaks@gmail.com or message me on Facebook via my page, Kelly Martin Speaks. Until next time, bye for now. You've been listening to my podcast, Kelly Martin Speaks. I'd really appreciate your feedback. If you're listening on iTunes, please give me a review. It helps me be seen and heard by those that need it. You can also follow me on kellymartinspeaks.co.uk, where you can read my blogs, find out about my book series, and subscribe to my monthly newsletter. I'm also all over social media, so search for me via Kelly Martin Speaks on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'll speak to you next week. Bye.